Hello students, welcome to another video. This video on heredity and evolution is brought to you by AT Square Crystal Clear Concepts. In this video, we will discuss the evolutionary forces. Evolution could not occur without variation. So, let us discuss the four evolutionary forces that create and pattern biological diversity, namely mutation, gene flow, genetic drift, and natural selection. Mutation. Mutation is a sudden, heritable change in the DNA of an organism. Mutation, the ultimate source of evolutionary change, constantly introduces new genetic variation. Mutation occurs randomly. Although some mutations may be harmful or beneficial to individuals, most mutations are neutral. An example of a harmful mutation is sickle cell disease. Similarly, there is albinism. But in an evolutionary sense, random mutations are inherently positive. It provides the variation upon which the other evolutionary forces work. New body plans, such as walking on two legs compared to knuckle walking like our closest relatives, chimpanzees and gorillas, ultimately dependent on a series of genetic mutations. Now, let us discuss the next evolutionary force, that is genetic drift. We have discussed this before during the illustration of evolution, where the bushes were stormed by an elephant and the blue beetle survived by chance. They were a minority before, but after the incident, they become the majority. Genetic drift refers to chance fluctuations of allele frequencies in the gene pool of a population. Over the course of a lifetime, a number of random events affect each individual's survival. For example, an individual squirrel in good health and possessed by a number of advantageous traits may be killed in a chance forest fire. A genetically well-adapted baby may not live longer than a day if its mother gets caught in an avalanche, whereas the weaker offspring of another mother may survive. In a large population, such accidents of nature are unimportant. However, in small populations, some alleles may become overrepresented in a population due to chance events such as a rock slide or fire. A particular kind of genetic drift, known as founder's effect, may occur when an existing population splits up into two or more new ones, especially if a particularly small number of individuals founds one of the new populations. In such cases, the gene frequencies of the smaller population tend not to carry or not to contain the full range of variation present in the larger one. The founder effect occurs when a small group of migrants that is not genetically representative of the population from which they come establish in a new area. Here in this picture, we see the original population is on the left with three possible founder population on the right. An interesting example can be seen on the Pacific island of Pinglap in Micronesia, where 5% of the population is completely colorblind, a condition known as achromatopsia. The high frequency of achromatopsia occurred sometime around 1775. After a typhoon swept through the island, reducing the total population to only 20 individuals. Among the survivors was a single individual who was heterozygous for this condition. Namwarki once said, "The ruler at the time is now believed to have been a carrier for the underlying genetic condition." By generation 6, the incidence rose to approximately 5% due to founder effect and inbreeding, with all achromats on the islands nowadays tracing their ancestry back to Namwarki. Today, the atoll is still of particular interest to geneticists due to small gene pool and rapid population growth. The disorder is now prevalent in almost 10% of the population. Now, we will discuss the next evolutionary force, that is gene flow. Gene flow, or the introduction of new alleles from nearby population, brings new genetic variation into a population. Migration of individuals or groups into the territory occupied by others may lead to gene flow. Throughout the history of human life on Earth, gene flow has prevented populations from developing into separate species. Let us now discuss natural selection under evolutionary forces. Natural selection, the evolutionary force described by Darwin, accounts for adaptive change. Adaptation refers to a series of beneficial adjustments to the environment. Natural selection causes population to become adapted or increasingly well suited to their environments over time. Natural selection depends on the environment and requires existing heritable variations in a group. The peppered moth we discussed earlier are a wonderful example of natural selection.